Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Finally, I haven't done a speaker video in a long time, but here we are, back once again. Just a quick little update about what's going on with the channel. Let me sit down for this. Hold on. That totally wasn't an excuse to show off my shitty tripod. So guys, before this video starts real quick, I just wanted to tell you guys what's going on with my channel, what I want to do with it. I promise this won't take very long. Basically, this is just about the poll that I started a little bit ago on my channel. You guys might remember it. I was basically just asking whether you guys wanted to watch other types of content on this channel. Stuff about like cars or scooters or electronics, anything like that, you know. Just kind of technology in general or cars. I like that stuff, so. And you guys said yes, you would like to watch that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna see how it goes. What the hell? Damn, I keep switching, what the hell? But yeah, you guys said you would like to watch that type of stuff, so I'm trying it out. I tried it out with two videos. I did my truck review, and I also did the Ford Taurus cinematic. The review seemed to do really well. I'm happy with how that one turned out. The cinematic, that was kind of just a very random thing I wanted to do, so I tried it out. It didn't really get that many views, but if you guys want to see cinematics, let me know in the comments below. So yeah. If you guys are wondering why I was uploading stuff about cars for a second there, that's why. Also, more scooter content coming soon, I hope. I'm about to hit 6,000 miles on my cruiser, so maybe I'll do an update then. Maybe I'll do like 8,000, 7,000 miles, something like that. But yeah, just letting you guys know what's going on. Back to the video. So basically, as you guys seen from the start, I got this foam here. I don't know what the hell that is. So it's this stuff here. It's actually made for like air conditioners and stuff, which I might actually use this in my air conditioner because the stock filter that comes with it kind of sucks. But it just so turns out that this foam right here is a very good match to what comes stock in the JVC systems. And there's my dog. So I figured, well, today I have the day off, so I'm finally going to install this in the J700, because if you take a look in there, as you can see, yeah, there's no foam in there. So I actually did this already with the J900, which you can see in there. This one also had foam that was kind of falling apart, but this one doesn't even have foam at all. I'm not sure what happened to it. I'm not sure what the previous owner did with it. Oi. But it kind of sounds terrible. It has a lot of port noise without the foam, and I'm going to see how much of a difference it makes. So basically, to start, we got to get these two speakers off of this stack, which honestly should hopefully be pretty easy because they're right on top. But I have to somehow get to the wires on the back of that. So let me attempt this real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, so as you can see by the absolute mess I caused in here, I've taken them off, and here they are. So I actually have the spare GT80 amp with me here because I'm going to show you the noise that I'm talking about. If you have a JVC stereo and you're missing the foam inside of here, it's probably going to make a noise very similar to what I'm about to show you. So let me play the clip. Yeah, not a very fun noise, is it? So basically, by adding this foam right here, it should greatly reduce the noise. I'm not saying it's going to completely erase it. I mean, we'll see. It probably also depends on what type of foam you buy. I've had good luck with this foam for all my other stereos, so hopefully this is no exception here. Let me shut that off. Let me move this amp out of the way, and I will show you guys what you're gonna need to basically take this apart and add the foam. All right, so amplifier's over there. The only thing you're actually going to need to take this apart, a Phillips head screwdriver. I'm really not joking. I mean, you could also get Phillips head screwdriver or a plastic pry tool. These two can make your life a lot easier, especially if it's your first time taking this system apart. Personally, find a flathead screwdriver that's as thin as possible. If you can't, I really do recommend one of these if you can. These don't always work the greatest, but it's going to do the least amount of damage. So, but as long as you're careful, like I've used this, I didn't do a single thing of damage last time I took this apart. I'll show you guys how to do it here in a second. But anyway, let's get to it. I'm gonna move all these tools somewhere, and we're going to start with the right speaker. Now, hopefully, let me get this tripod set up right. All right, so as you can see, we got our J700 right speaker here. So basically, the first thing you're going to do when you're taking this apart, get this front grill off, which it can be a little difficult, especially if you haven't taken it apart in a while. Just be gentle with it. You know, this is all like 20-year-old stuff, but as you can see, there it is. And once you take that off, you get access to your nice mid-range right here. But first, the first thing you're going to do, move it on its side here, and you're going to notice a couple of these little screw holes right here. Just let me warn you right now, only some of these actually have screws in them. Some of these are just for decoration. So the ones you're going to want to pay attention to is this one on top right here, this one on the front right here, this one on the bottom right here, and then there's going to be two right here and right there. And these are all going to be Phillips head screws. So I'm going to take these out and show you how it's done. Alright, so I've got all the screws out. Some of them might not come out all the way. It should still work as long as you're sure you got them unscrewed. I only got 4 of the 5 screws out. It does help if you have a magnetic screwdriver. But once you get these out, this panel should literally just fall off. And there goes our 5th screw right there. And they are all the same screw. They're all the same size, so if you mix them up, it's not the end of the world. There is our subwoofer right here. Now, to replace the foam, you are going to want to take this out. It's something you're going to have to do, which is actually pretty easy. Now, to take the subwoofer out, I actually do recommend you flip this thing on its side. So now to get the subwoofer out, there is going to be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 screws to get the subwoofer out, which I'll show you how that's done right now. And by the way, these are all Phillips head as well. All right, once you get all 4 screws out, keep them somewhere separate from the other ones. And now we should, it might help also if you have your pry tool or if you have your flathead screwdriver, which for this, you might gonna have to use your flathead screwdriver. There you go. It'll literally just pop out just like that. Once you get one side off, you can just kind of lift it up and the whole thing should, there we go, pop right out. And there's the subwoofer out. Also now, once you get the subwoofer out, you're gonna notice that it is connected, of course. So to get these out, they should pop off just like that. If they don't pop off, a little secret that I've done before, just grab a flathead screwdriver, kind of wedge it right in the middle, right there, and kind of twist. Just kind of twist just like that, back and forth, rock it back and forth, and eventually it'll become loose enough, it'll just pop right off. There it goes. And while we're here, I might as well give you guys a nice look at the J700 subwoofer. Here it is. There's the bottom of it. Definitely a decent little driver for sure. That's not what we need today though, so put that to the side. And now you guys have access to the inside. You can see that little port right there. That's what we need to get to. Before we do that though, we are going to actually get the front off as well. That makes it a whole lot easier to get at the inside here because you need to, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about in a second here. All right, so now that we're looking at the front here, you're gonna be like, well, how do you get it off? Well, it's actually, they hit it very well on this one for whatever reason. Basically, you can see these little rubber pieces right here on each corner. And you kind of get your screwdriver in just like that, kind of push it in, and then you just kind of wedge it out. Just like that. You can kind of peel it off. So if you just do that for each corner, all right, just like that, that is how it's done. Be sure you guys keep them safe somewhere where you know you're gonna be able to find them again because you're gonna need those if you want to put your front grille back on. Inside of each of these holes right here, there is actually a Phillips head screw. This is where your longer screwdriver is gonna come in handy. Way in there, you'll feel it right there. You can see it lock into place. There is screws in each of these holes and you're gonna want to take all of them out. Alright, so none of my screws actually came out. It shouldn't make a difference. I don't think I've actually taken the front panel off of these before, so this is going to be interesting. It shouldn't matter. I've done this with the J900 and the screws were left in there, but it still came off just fine. So just leave them in there, let them be, don't worry about it. And now here comes the fun part. Once we get these screws out, this whole front piece should just come off. You can try using your plastic pry tool if you want. I'm going to try it and see if it works. But otherwise, I'll show you guys, here, I'll show you guys right now. On the bottom here, there's actually, you're gonna see two little strips right here that are a little larger. There's like a little larger gap on each side of here. Let me see if I can get that on camera. Yeah, you can actually kind of see that right there. So you can see right there, right in front of my thumb, there's a little opening that's a little bit larger. And it's on each side, and that'll actually give you some leverage to use a flathead screwdriver. You can see my screwdriver just kind of fits right in there a lot better than over here. You can see all of a sudden it kind of goes in. So there's one on each side, and basically you can kind of get leverage. Basically when you're doing this to minimize the damage, you're going to want to kind of lift up a little bit. So it'll minimize the damage on the outside. You can see it's already kind of coming off right there. So here's the other side. Let me show you guys again what I'm talking about. See your screwdriver, you're going to wedge it in there, kind of pry it up just like that. So mine is actually coming off pretty easily. I've never actually taken this one apart before. So I didn't even need the pry tool for this one. So just kind of, I mean, this one literally just came right out. I didn't even use a screwdriver from there. There it is. The whole thing comes off. Now be very, very careful with this. There are actually wires. So basically when you take it off, you're going to want to kind of flip it over on its side. You're going to want to unplug the tweeter, which hopefully they come off pretty easily. But if they don't, just use that same method that I showed you guys before. You can see there's actually two terminals. There's one for this tweeter and there's one for the little piezo over there. Okay, there we go. That was actually a pain in the ass. Anyway, with that out of the way, as you can see, we got the front off. Alright, so now we have basically the entire thing taken apart. We just didn't take this off, but we don't need to take this off for this job. But now you can see we have access right here to the very front. The inside of the port is literally right there. Now that we have that all taken apart, we can unleash our foam. Alright, so now this is kind of the tricky part. So basically you're going to want to kind of measure how long the port is going to be. For this job you're also going to need some scissors. I should have probably mentioned that to begin with. By the way, I'll be putting the link to this foam in the description below. So if you do live in the US, this foam should work great. If not, I don't know of any foams that work good for the JVCs over there, but just try to find something with the similar specs to this. So the port actually only goes in a certain amount, but it kind of stops like halfway through the opening here, which is like right about here. If you want, you can like kind of mark it out a little bit. I am going to do it risky and just hope for the best. Now, if you're gonna do this, be sure, like if you're going to cut it, give yourself a little extra space. So say you think the ending is right here, move it up just a little bit more. So just, you have room for air basically. Because you can always take away foam, but you can't add any. Well, I'm going to stop mine about right here. That should give me a little extra room for air. I'm going to cut right at the front here. So right where the port ends, which is going right there. And be sure you hold this in place pretty good. You're going to want to cut as straight as you can. For this stereo, that should be more than enough. And then you're going to want to do the same thing, but now we're going to cut the other way. Alright, and just like that, we got our piece of foam. Now as you can see, I didn't cut exactly straight. I mean, it's close, but it doesn't have to be perfect right now because we're going to see how well this fits to begin with. So basically what we're going to want to do is we're going to kind of fold it up like this. We're going to fit it in here. As you can see, I made mine a little bit too long because you can see there's a lot more. I mean, look how much extra there is. If you try to fold it up in a ball, like overlaps a ton. So we don't want this. So we're going to have to cut this again a little shorter. Alright, so we've cut it again. Let's see if it wants to fit this time. And the answer to that is no. Okay, so we're gonna have to cut it again. Again, this is a little bit of a tedious process. I am going to keep cutting until I get the right size, and I'll be right back with you guys. Alright, so this part is on my phone for a second, just so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. This right here is pretty close, as you can see. But if you look on the inside, see how you can kind of see the foam on the outside a little bit? Yeah, you don't want that. So I'm gonna have to cut it just a little bit. And once I get this cut to size, I will give you guys the exact measurements for what I've cut this foam to. All right, I'll be right back. So as you guys can see, the foam is in. And it seems to match up pretty perfectly here. I'm going to now take this out and I'll give you guys the exact measurements. So you guys can cut this to the exact size that you need for the J700. And then I'll put it back in and we'll see how it sounds. Alright, so as you guys just seen from that video, you got the measurements and you also got to see how it looks when it's fully installed. So you can see it kind of overhangs a little bit, but don't worry, because when the front panel goes on, the port gets a little smaller, so it'll cover that little, it'll kind of cover that up. It'll make it look good. It'll look just like factory, I promise you. So yeah, basically that's the reason why you need to take the front and the side off, because you need to kind of like reach behind through here and kind of have to pull it through the back of the port. And then kind of wiggle it back and forth until you get it just right in the front. You don't want any part of the port showing. You want it to be all foam. And on the inside, you want it to be nice and flush with the back of the port. You don't want it to be too far or too short. I mean, cutting it just a tiny bit makes a huge difference. So you got to cut it just right. Mess with it a couple times, get it just right, and trust me, it'll sound a lot better in the end. So now that's basically it. We can start putting it back together and we can see how it sounds compared to the stock one that doesn't have the foam. There we go, dropping that again. Okay, so to start, it's basically just gonna be everything but in reverse again. So we're going to start by putting the front back on. Now, if you still have any screws in here, be sure to kind of tap them out, get them out of there. Okay, so I found all of my screws. The ones for the front panel are going to be a little bit longer than the ones for the subwoofer, so just keep that in mind in case you get them mixed up. So for me, since I took the tweeter out, I'm going to have to do the great fun task of putting the tweeter back in. Okay, now with your tweeter screwed in, if you took it out, you can now plug it back in. Okay, now once you have the tweeter connected, you can set it back down, kind of line it up, and then it'll fall into place. So now that you got all 4 screws out of the top, you're gonna want to take them, and it doesn't matter which order you put them in, but again, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. If you have a magnetic screwdriver, this becomes so much easier, which apparently I don't. All right, just like that, all 4 are screwed in. We are done with the front. Now we're gonna do the subwoofer. We're gonna put that back in, which this is all basically the same thing as it was last time, just in opposite order. Again, it's gonna be the same general thing for the subwoofer. You're gonna have these 2 cords, each is different sizes. Just line them up and plug them in. Just like that. I plugged my subwoofer in, and now drop it into place and line up the screw holes and just screw it in. All right, with that, we got our subwoofer back in, and now the last thing you're gonna wanna do is put our little side cover back on for the subwoofer. So to put this on, you're gonna want the JVC logo facing like this, just like that, and it should just kind of slot into place. There we go. And now I'll make sure all the screw holes line up, mine do. And now you can put your screws back in. Again, this is another one of those cases where having a magnetic screwdriver comes in really handy, which I sadly don't, so. And just like that, we have fully reassembled our JVC J700. So I'm going to connect this all back together and make sure the foam is in there the right way now that I put the front panel back on, and I'll get back to you guys in a second. Alright, so sorry for the quality drop. I'm recording with my other phone for the sound demo, but as you can see, there's the new one. There's the old one. You can see it's definitely not my most perfect job in the world, but that is a hell of a lot better than it was before. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, let's give it a test. I'm going to start with the old one, and then we'll switch to the new one and see the difference. Well, I don't know about you, but that made a huge difference. So, I mean, all we did was, like, what was that? Like, if you're doing this on your own without recording, this probably takes, like, what, 30 minutes? 40 minutes? I don't know. It depends on you, I guess. But for me, that's about how long it takes, maybe less. And you can see it looks a lot better, too. It looks like a brand new stereo again. And the difference in sound it makes is, like, night and day. So if you guys are having this issue, I highly recommend doing this. This makes such a huge difference. But anyway, I'm going to do the other one real quick, and I'll get back to you guys once I get the other one done. Alright, so as you can see, I have foam in both of the ports now. It wasn't too bad. I got it done pretty quickly now that I know what the measurements are and everything. So I'm going to give you a quick sound demo of both of them going at the same time, and we'll do a little side-by-side compared to how it was before. Here we go. Same volume. Also, before I end this video, be sure you remember to put those little rubber things back in. I almost forgot myself, so be sure you put those back in when you're done. Alright guys, that is it. So that is the entire process of adding new foam to your JVC stereo, specifically the J700. I'm thinking I might do one with the G70 as well, because I also got to get that done. The foam is still there in that one, but it's like falling apart. Like you touch it and it'll just disintegrate in your hand. So it's kind of nasty. I got to get that done. But for now, that is the end of this video. The same kind of thing applies to all the JVC stereos that are either the foam is falling apart or it's gone completely. You got to be sure to take that front panel off and also the side cover where the subwoofer is. And then once you get those two things off, you have like infinite access to help pull the foam in and stuff from the inside. So that's why I do it that way. And that is basically the proper way to do it. As you can see, it sounds a whole lot better than it did before. So hopefully you guys can now do this task on your own and get some better sound out of your old stereo systems. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Be sure to hit that like button. Also hit the giant subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. By the way, big thank you for 2,000 subscribers, guys. That seriously, that means, you don't even know how much that means to me. I never thought I'd get that far, especially making videos about old stereos, but seriously, thank you guys. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good night, guys.